Let's get some market reaction now. For that, let's welcome Mr. Dawie Roodt, who's a chief economist at Efficient Group. Dawie, great having you with us this afternoon. A very good afternoon to you. So first reactions when you got your first look at the new cabinet. Is it representative of an inclusive government that seeks to bring about progression and the much needed change in the country, particularly when we look at economics?
Yeah, good afternoon. Well, my first reaction was, wow, this is a huge cabinet. We had a huge cabinet previously, now it's even bigger. But the political reality is that the president needs to satisfy a lot of various groupings in this new political reality of South Africa, political groupings, various factions in the ANC itself. So it's inevitable that the government will be much, much bigger, or the cabinet will be much, much bigger. Looking at some specific departments, especially the economic-related departments, I'm disappointed that Barry Mantashe is still there. He really didn't do much in his previous term. I'm happy he's back, but that was pretty much expected. Barbara Greasy moving to transport, that's a good one. I'm actually quite excited about that. Park Stow, trade and industry, that's an interesting one. Let's see if he can undo some of the damage caused at his predecessor. I think those are some of the important ones. So broadly speaking, I'm quite happy except for one or two exceptions.
I mean, Dawie, look, figures indicate that South African GDP growth rate for 2020, right, was about 1.9%, which was a sharp 2.7% decline from the previous year of 2021, which was a substantial one. And we only saw an increase in the past 5 years, only during 2021, which was at 10.67%. And it's been a slippery slope since then. So what do you think it will actually take to get the economy as well as GDP growth back on an uptick in terms of development?
Well, I can give you a lot of things that we can do and should do to get this economy to grow faster, but the reality is there's a political context that's also relevant here. Now, the political context is that the ANC government is still the dominant political party, and they're not going to budge on certain things, and I don't expect significant changes as far as policy is concerned. But I do think that the DA and some of the other smaller political parties can make a significant contribution by improving the efficiency of the state, not necessarily the policy, but the efficiency of the state. Having said that, there are some changes that really excites me. One is, like I've mentioned, Barbara Greasy moving to transport, and that will hopefully go a long way in improving the railroads in South Africa, because they have been causing immense damage to the South African economy. Furthermore, we are making some changes as far as electricity is concerned, and I think Ramaphosa, the new Minister of Electricity, he will also, I got much more confidence in him recently, and I think he will also make some changes as far as electricity provision is concerned. So not necessarily a change in policy, that is, of course there are changes in policy required, but I don't think we're going to see much of that. But what we certainly can do is do the things that we have been doing, but just do it much better, and that will go a long way in supporting the economy as well.
Now, trade and industry, finance, I know you made reference to that, as well as transport and public works. So let's go further or dig deeper into these candidates or appointees, Dawie. Looking at these candidates, namely the ANC's Enoch Godongwana, he's been with finance, the portfolio before, the DA's Dean McPherson, a first-time appointee from the DA, as well as the newly promoted ANC's Park Stow. So what is your take on the appointments? And specifically, do you think they have the needed tools as well as experience to steer these portfolios?
Yeah, let's start with Park Stow. Park Stow, his predecessor Patel, he was a bit of a disaster there. So let's give him the benefit. Let's see if he can improve on that specific department as much as can be improved on that specific department. Take away all the so-called protection, and that will be good for inflation as well, just by the way. So Park Stow, let's see I don't know how he's going to be as a minister. Let's see how it pans out. The Minister of Finance, Enoch Godongwana, he's been around for a long time, and it's pretty much it was a given that he will remain as the Minister of Finance. But what is interesting for me, he's got two deputies now, one from the ANC and one from the DA. And the Deputy Minister of Finance is very important because he is responsible for the PIC, the running of the PIC. And I would like to know who's going to take that responsibility. Is it going to be the DA or the ANC? So that will be interesting to get a DA Deputy Minister in Finance, that was a very interesting move, and I can't really figure it out why that happened. I did make some comments about transport. I think Barbara Creasy can do a good job there, especially with the new CEO at Transnet. That will also go a long way in improving transport in railroads in South Africa. Yeah, so all in all, something that I'm a bit disappointed in is Gwede Mantashe, that he's retained as the Minister of Mineral Affairs, because he was a bit of a disaster in his previous term, and I can't see much changing there.
In closing, Dawie, maybe the markets, as we understand, have reacted quite positively, right, to these appointments in the cabinet. But is it not too early to sing such praises well before the work has actually begun? We know that it's not a secret that most of these parties have a very extremely different ideologies and policies, and now having them being thrown in a single pot to blend together in such a short amount of time, realistically, when would be the best time to start seeing some progress, do you think?
I see the financial markets did react positively, yes, but I think it's more a sign of relief from the financial markets, because it could have been so much worse. And this is a relief rally that we are currently seeing. But you're absolutely right. It will take some time before we can really see whether this new arrangement will work. What I witnessed the past 2 weeks was a lot of political fighting. And will these opposing political ideologies be able to work together and form a government and steer South Africa into a stronger growth trajectory? To be honest, I really hope it's going to work, but I don't think this new government is going to last 5 years.